Welcome, everybody, to episode 14 of the Wild Blueberries Roundtable. Today we have me, Andrew, Renz. That's it. Nobody else can talk because they're all doing other stuff. And you're lucky I'm here because I could be celebrating with all the other Knicks fans right now. But I guess we'll start off with the NBA because that's the draft going on right now. As of right now, top three has gone. Top three has been selected. Zion Williamson at 1, John Morant at 2, and the Knicks not doing something dumb, and they took R.J. Barrett, the Canadian Wonder Kid, at 3. All right, Andrew, what do you see happening from here?
I honestly have no clue. I could care less about the NBA.
It's fair enough. You're a Sixers fan.
I'm a Sixers fan. We don't pick till 24. It's the NBA draft. I don't like the way college basketball does stuff, and I really could care less about the NBA. It's the least favorite of the 5 major professional sports leagues in the U.S.
5. Soccer's a thing.
Yep. That's why I said 5.
No, Ren said 4 under his breath.
Oh. There are 5. NHL, NFL, NBA, MLB, and MLS.
Well, I didn't say 4. I said out of them all. Like NBA.
All right. So, what about Ren's, whose wonderful team does not pick in the first round tonight?
A bunch of trades. I don't know.
Oh yeah, let's talk.
I mean, the first 4.
Let's talk about those.
Yeah.
All the wonderful trades. The Anthony Davis trade. Right now, the Lakers are picking. They selected DeAndre Hunter, but DeAndre Hunter is going to the Atlanta Hawks. Originally, by the start of today, he was supposed to go to the Pelicans, but last-minute trade has him going to Atlanta. Atlanta shipping over 8, 17, a second, a future first, and then a future first and Solomon Hill are going to the Hawks. I think it's a decent trade. Also, Saric and 11 were traded for 6. Phoenix and Minnesota made that trade. There are teams who are buying and selling second-round picks like it's nothing, but what of the players that are getting drafted tonight, Renz, do you think will have the biggest impact on their team immediately?
It's a cop-out, but Zion Williamson.
Fair enough.
It's a cop.
Fair enough.
Like, it's weird. But I will want to go to a tangent. Why does the NBA like doing this thing called not making things official until like July?
It's money.
It's also dumb.
It's dumb, but I understand it. It's just frustrating.
Picks again.
Of course he is.
Of course.
Water is wet.
Trade. The Cavaliers are focused on Vandy guard Darius Garland with the number 5 pick, league sources tell ESPN. It's not that they're selecting him, they're focused on him. Remember that.
Gee, well, what a difference.
There is a difference. Because one of them he'll get in trouble for and the other one he won't.
Yeah. It's that weird political correct.
Oh, and also Mike Conley got traded. We don't have to go into that.
Yeah.
That was an interesting trade. Let's talk about the fun stuff though, the stuff that we actually care about. And I'm not saying basketball we don't care about. Like, I'm a Knicks fan. I mean, I'm just hoping and praying that this offseason goes the way we all want it to. And I mean, Nets, Sixers, you guys are just hoping that they don't make wrong moves there.
Yeah.
Honestly, basketball is still the least entertaining of them all.
Absolutely.
That is true.
Like, I don't have an MLS team, but I've watched MLS games just for the sake of I like watching them.
MLS games are fun.
Yeah.
You'd be a Red Bulls fan.
Yeah, you'd be a Rebels.
That would fit with the pain. It would.
You like are depressing and are a bunch of failures.
New York Red Bulls.
Yeah.
And it's also another team named after New York that doesn't actually play in New York.
That is true.
The Mets, the only team I root for to actually play, and the Nets, the only teams that actually play in the state of New York.
All right.
Okay.
I love how.
Let's go NHL. Let's go with some NHL trades.
DeAndre Hunter
that have happened.
Lakers hat, but in his head he's like, yeah, I'm a Hawk. I'm a Hawk. All right. Hockey. As Ilya.
The stuff we really care about.
The stuff that is more important than the NBA for us.
All right. You know what? Let's start with the Corey Perry buyout.
Considering we haven't talked about anything since the buyout window opened.
I mean, we brought
a
little bit in the draft episode during our little intermissions, but we didn't do a ton about it. So let's talk about the buyout window in general and the three guys who have been bought out. Let's start with Corey Perry because that's the big one.
Yeah, he could still produce. He just needs a much lower cap hit to be worth it.
Yeah.
I see Corey Perry going to the Flyers.
He'd be a really good fit on a Flyers third line.
Yeah, he would be.
A really good veteran presence to play with Nolan Patrick and Oscar Lindblom. I don't know why I've never thought of this before. But now that you're bringing it up, Scott, it makes so much fucking sense.
The other day,
now Perry to be a Flyer.
Now my question is, how much does he get?
I could see, I think Perry probably gets in the range of, I'd say probably somewhere between just under $2 million to just over $3 million.
That makes a lot.
I think
somewhere between 1.75 and 3.25.
To be honest,
yeah.
For a year.
I think Perry will get a 2-year deal worth $5.5 million.
Yeah, that's I wouldn't mind if that was a deal the Flyers signed him to, because that's $2 and $3/4 million a season to play on the third line and mentor Nolan, have another mentor for Nolan Patrick, and a veteran for some of the younger guys to learn from.
That
very much
huge. You're welcome for giving you that idea.
That is a wonderful idea.
Whoever gets Corey Perry,
I really like that idea.
Very lucky.
Yeah. Because he can still produce.
The problem was he was just injury riddled last year.
Injury riddled and overpaid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is going to be weird seeing him not in a Ducks jersey next year.
What team would it be to see him in?
Any team in California except the Ducks.
Yeah.
I really wasn't thinking. I was thinking more of because there are a lot of teams where I could see him fitting. I could see him fitting in Nashville. I could see him fitting in Philly. I could see him fitting with the Islanders. I could see him fitting with the Devils. But
there's a lot of teams he could fit in really well with.
He could.
Right. I think the Kings or the Sharks would be really weird.
It would be very weird. So I guess we could just talk about the next Flyer-related thing, which is Kevin Hayes got paid.
Hold up, no, we're still in the buyout window. Andrew McDonald is gone.
Yeah,
it's a miracle.
Yeah.
It's a miracle.
It
is a fucking miracle. But this is one of while we're on the, I don't want to jump too quickly into more trades, but this move and the other moves that Chuck Fletcher has made so far this offseason have signaled it is time for the Flyers to win right now. We are not waiting.
Like, seriously.
We are going for it this year. The money we have paid, we are paying this year to guys that are not on our team, are not going to be on the roster, is a lot of money.
Yeah.
We moved Radko Gudas, retained $1 million on him to bring in $5.75 million worth of Matt Niskanen. And then brought in nearly $4 million of Justin Braun for this year, and are paying $1.166 million on Andrew McDonald's buyout for the next 2 years.
Hey, you still save cap.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But not really.
Yeah, I mean,
cap space is tight in Philly.
All right. Let's talk about the last of the 3 buyouts and how Dion Phaneuf is going to sign with the Toronto Maple Leafs and become their captain again.
If that happens, that is the biggest meme in the entire league of the NHL.
Absolutely.
So Dion Phaneuf was bought out by the Los Angeles Kings. Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised.
We're not surprised, but that Mike Richards added on to it. That doesn't look good.
I really am not surprised that he was bought out. I was just surprised that they didn't figure out a better way to do it, like trying to find another trade for him to try and because remember, Dion Phaneuf's salary, it's between the Senators and the Kings and not the Leafs, because somehow the Leafs did not have to retain any money on that original Dion Phaneuf trade.
It's weird, but yeah. It's because Eugene Melnyk is a cheap ass.
That is true.
But we already knew that.
Yep.
And talking about the weird gets weirder with the 2 contracts that were signed over the past couple of days. Let's start with Erik Karlsson.
He got paid.
That man needs to think. Yeah. That man needs to pay.
Your cap is screwed. Joe Pavelski, your captain, may not be back next year. Timo Meier may not be back next year.
Or Kevin LeBlanc.
Boy may not be back next year. I don't know. It's just it's a lot of weird shit right now.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say this: Erik Karlsson should thank Drew Doughty for the rest of his career.
I got one.
Mm-hmm.
He does not get that money if Drew Doughty does not sign 8 years for $11 million.
Very true.
And just like oh boy, that cap.
All right, so if you haven't seen the contract yet, it's $11.5 million for the next 8 years. Why?
That, I think,
I don't get it.
Because San Jose wants to go completely all in, and apparently they wanted to pay Karlsson a few Brinks trucks.
Well, no. Now you got to realize. So, you already traded Braun. Pavelski's probably not back. Donskoy's probably not back. Tim Heed's probably not back. Joakim Ryan's probably not back. Timo Meier's an RFA.
He could be offer sheeted. That'd be an interesting.
It's funny, San Jose.
They're going to somehow pull some dumb.
That
is true.
So, I really don't get it. We're going to see what goes on with that team over the next couple of days, because I would not be shocked to see guys like Brendan Dillon in play for a potential trade. I would not be shocked if somebody like Evander Kane
I don't know who would take Kane, though.
Or Timo Meyer.
Timo Meyer would be dangled for, like, a good chunk of picks.
Timo Meyer would definitely be dangled. All right. Renz, let's just let Andrew talk about the Kevin Hayes contract. Let's just sit back and relax for a little bit.
Yeah.
Kevin Hayes got paid a lot of money. A lot of money for Kevin Hayes.
Okay. Yeah.
And a lot of years.
So
there's also that.
7 years. 7 years. $7.14 million. 7 years and essentially $50 million. Total.
So yeah, that's how it was advertised. It was 7 years, 50 mil. With
a full. Yeah. It has a full no movement clause and a 12-team no trade list. Essentially guaranteeing Kevin Hayes stays here for a long time. He will be
expansion draft.
Yes. He will be protected in the expansion draft, which means more than likely one or both of Jake Voracek and JVR are going to be exposed to Seattle.
JVR has a no movement clause.
No, he doesn't.
Really?
The only players on the Flyers with clauses that would be effective during the expansion draft are Claude Giroux, Kevin Hayes, and that's it.
That is a small list.
Nobody else has a no movement clause. So that would be 2 of the 7 forwards or 2 of the 8 players that they decide to protect. I would see the Flyers most likely going 7-3. So depending on what happens with Shane Gostisbehere this offseason. That could be a big difference in who they decide to protect in the Seattle expansion draft if Gostisbehere gets traded this offseason, which I hope to God he doesn't. Because then
Bear ends up getting traded tomorrow, which at this point looks pretty likely.
Or it could happen, it could not happen.
It could happen on Saturday too.
Yeah. If Gostisbehere does get moved, then I could see the Flyers going to 7-3.
And that would be what?
Forward route.
Giroux, Hayes, Patrick,
Giroux,
Konechny, Voracek,
Lindblom. Giroux, Couturier, Voracek, JVR, Hayes, Patrick, Lindblom. Lawton. Wait, no. Giroux, Couturier, Voracek, Konechny, Hayes, Konechny, or JVR.
Giroux, Voracek,
Couturier,
Hayes, Couturier, Konechny, Patrick, and one more, Lindblom. JVR would be exposed, and Lawton would be exposed.
Yeah, if Scott Lawton's still on the team, depending on how long of a contract he's on. It would be Provy, Sanheim, and Myers.
Isn't this contract up by then?
Niskanen has this year and next year left.
All right, so it's Provy, Myers, and Sanheim.
It would be Provy, Myers, and Sanheim if Ghost gets moved. And the goalie would, of course, be Carter Hart.
Yeah, and then Moran
would be available. Mark Friedman, if he's still here. Because none of the prospects they currently have, like a guy like German Rubtsov might be available. I don't believe Morgan Frost or Ratcliffe or any of the guys that are starting their professional careers this year would be available to Seattle come 2021.
Well, yeah, it depends on what happens. But obviously, Philadelphia is in an interesting spot with that contract. So we'll see what happens there. Those were
and it also really limits what they can do this offseason in terms of signings.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And now, obviously, if you're listening to this, you could tell it's like a bunch of us are like, obviously, we have our draft in the mind tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit about bold predictions for that, for our final thoughts a little bit. But let's continue on just rambling about hockey for a little bit. Let's talk about Ryan Callahan. So, Ryan Callahan today, it was announced that he was diagnosed with LDDD, which is a spine disorder that basically ended his career. What a shitty way to end his career, like seriously.
Yeah. It is.
And as an Islander fan, somebody who looked at and saw the way he worked for God knows how long as a Ranger, he's a player's player. And
yes, he is.
It sucks that it ended that way. Salute to Ryan Callahan for an amazing career. Not the biggest scorer in the world, not the best player in the world, but a great leader.
Yeah.
Anyone have any other thoughts on Callahan's career?
His career was basically an energy guy, and as a fan of Rival Just Like Scott, I respected him from a fan standpoint of what he had to do for the team. He was selfless, and it really does suck that his career ended like this.
Yeah,
it does.
All right. I'm gonna sit back and I'll chime in, but Andrew, you can take it away with any other hockey-related topics that you have in mind.
Give me 2 seconds. Let me pull up other trades that have happened. There was the Jacob Trouba trade. Let's go through the trades. Let's start with the ones coming from May 30th. There was the Adam Fox trade, which we mentioned. We mentioned Fedor Gordeev and Kevin Hayes trade. So most recently, we had the Matt Niskanen for Radko Gudas swap, where the Flyers decided to retain 30% of Radko Gudas' salary, which comes to just over $1 million. Flyers get a veteran top four right-handed defenseman to add to their D-core. Washington gets Radko Gudas, who was arguably the Flyers' best defenseman last year. A guy I really liked, but coaching staffs never trusted him to play in a top four role, which is kind of disappointing. So it really helps because it gives a veteran to go alongside Provorov, Sanheim, and a guy with a lot of playoff experience to add to this team and be another good locker. It's an actually good locker room leader. What they thought Andrew McDonald was, but actually good at what he does.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Niskanen is a bad player, and Rens can chime in here too. Niskanen's not a bad player. I still
He's not bad. He's just overpaid.
Question the move.
Yeah, I questioned it too at first. I looked at looking at stats. He had a rough first half in the last season, and now he had last year it was essentially two different halves for him. He had a pretty solid second half of the season, so there is still the worry about whether or not he is actually on the decline, but he has 2 years left on his contract, so it's not the end of the world. It's not particularly cash-strapping the Flyers solely because of Niskanen, but other moves they made have put them in this cap trouble, per se.
Well, let's talk about that other move.
Well, that was Justin Braun traded for a second-round pick this year and a third-rounder next year. Don't really like the move. Overpay. That's just a lot of draft capital to give up.
It is.
For a guy of Justin Braun's stature. Granted,
if it was only a second in Braun, then I think it would be completely fine.
Yeah. Granted, if you looking at his numbers, they don't look great, but that's because Justin Braun never spent any time with Erik Karlsson or Brent Burns. He was simply told, go out and shut down the opponent's top line. You never have a chance to have any offensive input. You don't get to play offense. You play defense. You're on a shutdown pair with Vlasic. Don't get scored on.
And you saw that there were issues where you could see that, and Andrew and I were looking at a bunch of stats. What was it, 2 days ago?
A couple of days ago, yeah.
His metrics last year, they were bad.
But his metrics are only bad because he never had a chance to play in the offensive zone, because at least 65% of his starts came in the defensive zone. So when you're always starting in the defensive zone, it's very hard for you to get offense, especially when your defensive zone starts are against the opponent's top lines. And your task is to not let them score, as I've said. Your task is to break out of the defensive zone and then get off the ice. To let your offensively skilled guys in Burns and Karlsson get on the ice and produce the offense. So you look at his relative stats, and it's like, he was absolutely awful last year, but that's only because he played barely any shifts with Karlsson and Burns. So I don't mind the move. It's just confusing because Justin Braun and Matt Niskanen pretty much play the same role. Second pair right-handed defenseman.
Well, Matt Niskanen's going to be playing first pairing minutes, so have fun.
So one of them's going to be playing first pairing minutes with Ivan Provorov, most likely.
The other one's going to be second pairing minutes with Samuel Morin.
No, with Travis Sanheim.
And Morin will be third pairing with Ghostbeck?
No, your third pairing's going to be Phil Myers and Shane Gostisbehere.
Then where's
provided Shane Gostisbehere healthy scratch. He's your 7.
At that point,
Sam Morin's going to be the 7.
At that point, just trade Sam.
Like, really, Morin and or Haig need to get moved.
What about both and sign a 7th defenseman?
Or just have Schlemko sit as the 7.
Oh, yeah, you still have David Schlemko.
But the issue with having David Schlemko sit as the 7 is cap. David Schlemko is making $2.1 million. The Flyers are better off having him sit in the AHL and only be paid $1 million because he's sitting in the AHL. He's getting $1.025 million of his $2.1 million because he's buried in the AHL.
A little ridiculous.
Or at least that's what's on the cap.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous, but let's move on to the next trade.
The next trade we have would be Olli Mata for Dominic Cahoon and a 5th. The Blackhawks acquire a young right-handed defenseman. The Penguins get a young center who could potentially play in the bottom 6 for Pittsburgh this year.
Andrew, check the chat for a second.
I saw.
All right. So, obviously, one guy who, okay, this is really weird. So, Pittsburgh had 2 options. They could either trade Mata or Jack Johnson, and they chose Mata.
Yeah.
They have more faith in Jack Johnson and Mata, and I don't know if that's the right decision.
That's crazy.
It's insane. But it also shows you just how much capital Olli Mata lost in that organization.
He fell out of favor quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
He only fell out of favor with the organization. He fell out of favor with the fans.
But how do you trade Ole Mata over Jack Johnson, who's getting paid $5 million?
Because Jack Johnson's Crosby's buddy.
Yep. And you don't want to piss off your franchise cornerstone.
What are you talking about? Jake Gensel's their franchise corner.
Oh, yeah, good point. My mistake.
All right. And then Cahoon, third line center, probably will play with Zach Aston Reese. Nice little player.
Can be used in any situation.
Probably with Zach Aston Reese and Brian Rust next year, but he's a decent player. He's nothing special.
We actually skipped over a trade, jumping from Niskanen and Gudis to Mata and Cahoon. We skipped over the Connor Ingram trade. The Tampa Bay Lightning sent Connor Ingram to the Nashville Predators for a 2021 7th-round pick.
Excuse me for a second. Let me jump in here. Tampa, what the hell? I understand he refused to do some stuff for you guys, but how do you only get a 7th out of him? He was an AHL All-Star. He was a former 3rd-round pick. He was so good.
You could have gotten more.
And it's a 2nd-round or a 7th-round pick in 3 years.
Well, I mean, then
it's not this year. It's not next year. It's the year after that.
Yeah, so it's an interesting situation.
Yeah.
Connor Ingram just fell out of favor, so he left. He said he wasn't going to report. He left.
And Tampa Bay got what they could for him.
Which apparently was a 7th.
Tampa wasn't dealing from a position of strength here.
Tampa was.
It worked.
Because there isn't much after. I know Peter Budaj left. He's going to the KHL. Or no, Budaj retired and Eddie Pascale is going to the KHL.
Yeah. And you have Louis Domingue as your backup, and he's not good.
This year.
Yeah, he was okay, but if he's your starter, if Vasilevsky gets injured for a long period of time, they're not looking good.
And then we had one of the biggest deals that we've seen this year. Jacob Trouba's rights traded to the New York Rangers for Neil Pionk's rights, and Winnipeg gets their 1st-round pick back.
So 2 months of Kevin Hayes and Neil Pionk for Jacob Trouba, Brendan Lemieux, and a 4th.
Yep. So Winnipeg gets...
Congratulations, Ken Cheveldayoff. You fucked up.
And you still got to trade a few more players to even sign the rest of your players right now.
Give me Ghost for Ehlers 1-for-1 and I'll be happy.
Or give me Ehlers for Hosang and pick one of our scrub defensemen, and I'll be happy.
Or Hagen 11 for Ehlers.
I'll take Perot's contract if they're willing to give up 20 somehow.
Oh, yeah, I'd take Perot's contract, definitely.
Yeah, if we take on Matt Perot's contract, I want 20.
And also, like, if they were seriously willing to pay up to get rid of a contract, if they give me 20 and more, like 20 and, like, Brandon Tanev's rights, because I definitely want Brandon Tanev this offseason, I'll take Dmitry Kulikov in a second.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not...
Like, Winnipeg's not in a very good situation, especially with that cap apparently not increasing at all that much.
It's only...
it looks like.
Which isn't good.
It's 1.5.
Not at all. That's all they're forecasting? Yeah, we've gotten through all of them.
Somewhere between 81.5, which is 2.5%, and 82.5.
The only advantage to this is that all GMs will know what the net cap is for 2021.
Yeah, probably 83.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still disappointing to not see the cap go up as much as some people were thinking it would.
People thought it would go up to 83. It ends up going way less than that.
All right. So now that we're done with the trades, why don't we talk a little bit about the teams who are who are a little bit what's the word? Who are fucked.
You want to talk with Vegas first?
Let's talk about the Vegas Golden Knights. Renz, take it from here.
Okay. Let's just say this. What cap space does the Vegas Golden Knights have? It's this great thing called zero. They don't have any.
And they only have 19
Colin Miller,
guys signed.
Nick Holden, plus Eric Holla, plus Cody Eakin.
Yep. We'll say this. Miller, Eakin, maybe even Clarkson, they're all goners. There is no way they should be a Vegas Golden Knight by the end of this week.
Clarkson is LTIR.
That is true, but how much could you even do with an LTIR, even with them?
Mention it with the Ryan Callahan thing, but the thing with an LTIR is that if you want to use that LTIR space, you're going to sign as close to the salary cap ceiling, then place the player on LTIR, and then so say the cap is like, let's just make it easy. Say it's 100, just 100, and you sign 100, and you have a guy that's 5 that needs to go on the LTIR, you could spend another 5. If the cap is 100 and you've spent 98 and you have a guy that needs to go in the LTIR, you can only spend 3 because it's getting to the ceiling plus whatever it goes over the ceiling.
Yeah.
DJ LeMay just hit another home run. I love my baseball team. All right. Yeah, but so Vegas, obviously, just looking at their cap-friendly page, they've got some pieces in place. Like Mark Stone's going nowhere. Pax Pacioretty's not going anywhere. Paul Stastny's not going anywhere. Riley Smith's not going anywhere. Jonathan Marchessault's not going anywhere.
Alex Tuck's not going anywhere.
Going anywhere.
Now, this is what I wanted to wonder.
Those first 5 guys all have no trade, at least a partial no trade clause.
Yes. My question here is that
trade because he's still 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have him signed for 7 years or 8 years.
My big question here is that do they trade William Karlsson? Like
they need to trade.
Right.
They need to trade someone to get cap space if they want to sign him.
Like, do they dangle William Karlsson with like Cody Eakin so they can get rid of that cap hit?
Well, let's go over the rest of the players that they have under contract. Cody Eakin's making $3.85 for 1 year. They should try and get rid of him. Ryan Reeves is making $2.775 for 1 year. They should try and get rid of him. Eric Holla, $2.75. They should try and get rid of him. Curtis McKenzie will carry a Valentin Zykov. They're all affordable pieces to put together a fourth line.
Well, Eric Holla at 2.75 wouldn't be an awful guy on your third line.
Yeah, but I mean, if they can get rid of him, like, that's money. Oh,
yeah.
God. Yup, Tarp's going on the field at Yankee Stadium.
And then in terms of their defense, you've got Nate Schmidt, who's got a modified no trade.
So Nate Schmidt staying, he has a modified no trade. Shea Theodore, who's staying because he's just young and good. Colin Miller, who's probably gone tomorrow.
I mean,
or in the near future.
Yep, he's a good defenseman, but he's just a casualty.
He's got to be a cap casualty.
Braden McNabb may be a casualty. I'm not sure. Nick Holden, casualty.
And John Merrill.
John Merrill may be a casualty. And then Marc-Andre Fleury, obviously. And then who have they got unsigned? RFAs. Carlson, Nosek, Gusev, Subban. Carlson.
Carlson's probably looking close to $6 million this season.
I don't know if Subban's going to come back because they have Oscar Donsk.
Mm-hmm. I can see Malcolm Subban hitting the RFA market.
Offer.
They might not. He might hit UFA.
Yeah, which at that point doesn't even. They really just should. They shouldn't just fucking tender him. They should just I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then also, England's probably gone. Peary's probably gone. Peter may come back. Ryan Carpenter may come back.
I'd say England may come back simply because of his connection with the city.
Yeah, potentially. And then
he won't make a lot of money, so
Sev apparently is getting dangled a little bit. As is, I heard Nosek maybe also. And if they can't trade Nosek, they may just not send him a qualifying offer. Because it's not hard to replace Tomas Nosek.
It isn't.
No.
It's not.
All they need to do is find a bottom six energy guy.
All right. So, Vegas, that's that. Who's the next team that's in a cap struggle? Tampa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Callahan's going on the LTIR, but he's going to go on the LTIR after they do all their fun stuff this offseason.
Yeah.
So, they brought back Braden Coburn on a very good contract.
Yeah,
back Jan Ruda on a very good contract. Anton Stroman's gone. Dan Girardi's probably gone. So their defense next year is Hedman, McDonough, Coburn, Ruda, Sergachev, Chernak, and probably Cameron Gaunce or Dominic Machine.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad defense.
It's not bad.
Forward core, Kucherov, Stamkos, Palat, Miller, maybe a casualty. I've heard rumors that they're trying to shop him.
Miller does have the modified no trade.
Compared to everybody else who has a no trade. Yanni Gourde, Tyler Johnson, who's always been in discussion.
Killorn could be a bio candidate, but I doubt it.
Cirelli, Joseph, and then Point. Obviously, they need to sign Ernie, Danik Martel, and
Paquette.
I think Paquette's going to go to free agency. I think
18 Miller, he has 8 teams.
Martel, and I think Danik Martel will stay.
Martel's not going to be asking for all that much.
Adam Ernie and Martel will not be asking for a lot.
They're fourth line guys at best.
And
Braden Point is who they need to worry about.
Because if they don't bring back Paquette, which is highly likely, they've got Mitchell Stevens or Alex Bure-Billette, who had a fantastic season in the AHL this year. Corey Conacher is also on a one-year deal or a one-way deal next year, so Conacher looks like he may be on the team next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they extended him, it was a 1-year, one-way contract.
So the real interesting guys to watch for Tampa would be JT Miller with his 8-team no trade.
Alex Killorn with his full no trade.
Yeah, Alex Killorn and Tyler Johnson.
Yeah.
Both Killorn and Johnson have full no trades.
All right, then there's one more, and then I guess the last team we could look at is Toronto.
Absolutely.
Let's look at Toronto. Because apparently they're dangling a lot of pieces going into tomorrow.
You could be dangling Nylander.
Zaitsev's been dangling for a very long while.
Kadri's already
been.
Connor Brown. And Trevor Moore.
Connor Brown will get traded for a third-round pick.
And if he doesn't get traded for a third, we'll be disappointed.
Nick Patan, I've heard in rumors. Kasperi Kapanen, I heard, is being dangled. And there's serious interest in him.
Yeah.
Then on the defense side, Zaitsev, obviously, and Garrett Sparks. So who do you have under contract next year? Matthews, Tavares, Marlowe they're trying to get rid of.
Hyman,
Moore, Patan, Gauthier, Janssen, Marner. Janssen and Marner both RFAs. And I think they'll bring back Tyler Ennis. Also, they have like Jeremy Bracco, who may be NHL ready next year, Dmitry Timashov, Nick Baptiste.
Adam Brooks, even.
Like Pierre Engvall. Like, they've got pieces. And then they brought in Ilya Mikheyev. So,
he could make the team.
They've got pieces. And
next year.
You know, with Kyle Dubas, he's going to be one of those guys that signs a European and they make the team out of camp, or they just miss, like a Per Lindholm, like a who was it 2 years ago? There was somebody who was supposed to make the team a couple of years ago that didn't end up making it and went back to Europe.
Rosen?
Not Cali Rosen. Rosen.
I don't think it was
defense next year though.
I don't think it was. Then was it?
And also Borgman maybe.
Was it Marchenko?
Not Alexei Marchenko. He's a defenseman. Toronto Maple Leafs preseason stats. That's postseason. Good try. Who was it? I swear. It was a center. I'm blanking now on who it was. Was it not last season? Then it must have been 2 seasons ago. Oh my god. This is really bothering me. Hold on, give me a second. Alright. Who was this? You know what? It might have been Per Lindholm.
That would make sense.
It would.
I swear there was someone. Miro Aaltonen.
There it is.
That's the name.
That's his name.
I remember when he was supposed to be. I remember he was supposed to be a solid bottom 6 forward for Toronto a few years ago.
Alright, so. Okay, now that annoyance is out of the way, I mean, we're getting up there because we've been stalling a little bit, but, like, obviously we've got a lot going on in our heads. I mean, less than a day from now, teams will be on the clock and Gary Bettman will be getting booed. So, let's go around, we'll do 2 bold predictions, 2 final thoughts each. Ren, you start us off.
Bold predictions. For bold prediction, one would be Broberg somehow going to top 10. I somehow think
he's going to Edmonton at 8.
Yeah, I somehow think Edmonton's going to pull the trigger. And 2, I would not want to see this happen just because it wouldn't make sense. But Spencer Knight going to Florida at 13.
It's possible.
It's starting to gain traction.
It depends on what happens with Luongo.
Yeah, and I think he should retire, but I don't know what his decision is. We'll find out in a few days.
Potentially. All right.
Yeah.
I know one of your final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts on Mets. Okay. Thank you. You fired someone. You fired the wrong guy.
Wrong person.
Yeah. I guess you're fine.
Well, actually.
Yeah, the wrong people. You forgot that Mickey Mouse guy. I know Elon sucked, but come on. You should have fired Callaway first. And now you're doing that good old thing where you added a brand new position, which is pitching strategist, and I'm just like, okay.
For a mid-tier replacement level former major league reliever and Jeremy Accardo.
Yep. Also, second thought, Pete Alonso, please don't slow down the second half.
Didn't he hit another home run tonight?
Yeah, he hit a 2-run home run like 3 minutes ago.
Of course he did. All right, Andrew.
Bold predictions for the draft. The first bold prediction I have would be Cole Caulfield goes top 5.
Now that's bold.
He's projected to be most likely a top 10 pick. I'm going to say he goes top 5.
To who?
To
LA?
No, I think he goes at 4 to Colorado.
You think Colorado does it? And
I could
fall.
I could see the top 5 going Hughes, Kako, Turcotte, Caulfield, Byram.
I think you're crazy, but whatever.
As the top
for a reason.
As the top 5. Colorado needs depth scoring. Needs more secondary scoring. Cole Caulfield gives them that.
He does.
He's a great goal scorer and would fit very well in Colorado.
All right. Second bold prediction.
I'm only saying this because more people think this is going to happen, but I would say Shane Gostisbehere does not get traded this weekend.
I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case.
I would not be totally surprised if he does. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't, but
you'd prefer him to stay.
I would obviously, as a Flyers fan, prefer him to stay. I think our defense is better with him as the quarterback for power play 1 and playing sheltered third pair minutes, where it's easier to pick his spots.
All right.
Against
obviously
worse competition.
Now, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. The Phillies are
trade for a reliever, please.
We need a reliever and we need a 5th starter.
Just trade for Mad Bum and Will Smith from the Giants now somehow.
Just give me both lefties right now. We need another lefty in their pen. We can't keep using Cole fucking Irvin.
Also, try to find a way to
And where has the offense gone? Is it really was Andrew McCutcheon really the glue that held this offense together?
Now, this might be just me.
It certainly seems like Andrew McCutcheon was the glue that held this Phillies offense together.
Now, I'm just going to say this from like a division rival. I've always thought that lineup to be kind of a boom or bust lineup. And I'm surprised that it's kind of busted more than boomed recently.
I'm a Yankee fan. I don't have to worry about this shit.
It's kind of crazy that they've all gone quiet at the same time.
Yeah, like you usually don't see a lineup like that.
You don't see everyone go to shit all at the same time.
Yeah. But luckily for you, there's still
Harper's
a good
not
chance
hitting.
of the season.
Harper's not hitting. JT's not hitting. Reese isn't hitting. Segura's not hitting. Franco sucks. The only guys we have hitting are Scott Kingery and Jay Bruce. Who would have thought those? Those two guys are the ones carrying the Phillies lineup.
And who would have thought Jay Bruce would have been a Philly, which you're pretty happy that he's Philly right now.
Yeah, he's been pretty good, but Scott Kingery's been a man possessed.
At least I'm happy for him. At least he's lived up to that contract. Because that first year of it, oh boy.
Yeah, he was not good last year. But so far this year, he's been a lot better.
Yep.
All right. Second final thought, or was that both of yours?
That was pretty much both. Kingery this year hitting .338. He's hitting .338 this year.
That's pretty good.
Over the last 7 games, he's hitting .400.
All right, that's pretty good. All right.
Scott Kingery has been a revelation this year. It's been fun to see.
All right, bold prediction number 1. By the end of the weekend, Tyson Barrie will be wearing a jersey that is not a Colorado Avalanche jersey.
That is a bold prediction.
That is bold.
And to be honest, I'll say this right now, and you could quote me if it happens. Tyson Barrie will be wearing a Vancouver Canucks jersey by the end of the weekend.
Now that is even more bold.
What is the trade? Do you have a trade?
Not that I could. I don't know, because they're stacked on the. I wouldn't be shocked to see like Barrie for like Tanev, Goldobin, a second, and something else.
Oh, I could have seen Barrie for like a second and Virtanen if they were willing to, or like maybe Goldobin.
No.
Yeah, that's the guy I was gonna.
Use him really high.
Like
That
the
is
guy I
very
was gonna
true.
say was Jake Virtanen.
Yeah, but it really depends on whether
Better than
Vancouver wants to keep him.
Goldobin's fallen out of favor.
To be fair, he fell out of favor in Vancouver pretty fast.
Yes, he did. And my second bold prediction is that we will see multiple former All-Stars traded on day 1.
Do you have any ideas as to?
Don't know names, but I'm just saying.
You just
Former All-Stars will be traded on day 1 of the draft tomorrow.
so you just think there's going to be a lot of trades, including high-profile players.
Movement in the first round tomorrow.
Okay.
Not
Interesting.
only,
What are your final thoughts?
Not only the slide up, slide down, like actual like people trading out of spots for players.
So like the Braden Chen trade.
Yeah, so like the Braden Chen trade. And my final thoughts: number 1, TJ LeMahieu is a god amongst men, leading the league in average with runners in scoring position, and he's a monster, and it's playing better than Mookie Betts this year. And second final thought. You know what? I'm gonna leave it with one thing. So I sent this thing to Renz earlier, and it said this: I'm a Jets fan. You can doubt my team and you can doubt my quarterback. I don't care, but don't ever doubt my loyalty.
That's basically me with all my teams.
That is the perfect message for a New York Jets fan.
Yep.
Not doubt our loyalty to our team, no matter how bad they are.
That's literally me with all my teams.
All right.
Yes, oh boy.
That is
I've seen lean years.
For the pre-draft episode. I mean, we really didn't do much. We spent a lot of time talking about stuff that, I mean, there was no set plan for tonight. We were just recording ahead of the draft just because we wanted to record ahead of the draft. Our next episode is...
Should be Monday.
I think it's Monday.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's Monday. So it's next week is Monday, Friday. And then we're not recording for another week until Friday. And then we're back onto a week for a couple of weeks. And then we're going to go to 1 a week for the summer. All right. that is it for episode 13 of the episode 14 of the Wild Blueberries Roundtable. From Andrew, Renz, and I, and everybody else who decided not to show up tonight. We will see you for episode 15 on Monday.